Ticket with the programming. I'm Chase Ingram.
I'm Captain America.
And along with me is Bill Grundler.
Wolverine.
What's up, bro?
Sup, you South Central guy.
Oh,
you other guy.
Yeah,
Who you think
West
you
Coast.
are anyway,
West Coast.
bro. West Coast, best coast.
Y'all, we're talking about the Open. We're talking about the Open. Have you seen some of the Open content? And I'm not going to say
You mean the
people
dumb
have been
stuff
listening, but I do see annual fitness check-in. I've seen that put out there in writing.
Oh, really?
I'm like, okay, good.
I think.
Well, yeah, there you go.
No,
guys.
I've seen some. I've seen some that are not the way that would draw me in necessarily, but I like that they're putting stuff out there because I mean, again, like, what is the Open supposed to be? It's the broad, net. So
yeah,
you have to
It's
get you have to
different than
figure out
what it
that other way
was.
of telling people. Yeah.
It's different than what it was, and I feel like when did we talked about this? I think during the announcements of like the top 25% go to the quarterfinals and all that stuff broke, and everyone's like, "Oh, can we just make it like it used to be?" And I'm like, "Hey, listen, just let it go.
Yeah, it won't be.
It won't be." And listen, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because the new Open is now called quarterfinals. Quarterfinals is more prestigious than the previous Opens used to be that we all fell in love with. So we just kind of shift our attention that way, and that's where we want to go.
Fitness.
Hey, you qualified for the first stage of the competition.
That's right.
Open participation, quarterfinals competition. You signed up and paid to be here. You qualified to be here. Now let's party, right? Or now let's get serious. Open party. The fitness fun run.
It's a fitness party, man. It is.
It's
It's the rock and roll half marathon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you're running a half marathon, okay, but you get to have some good music, probably some beers afterwards. Get
Beers.
to hang out, slap
Was
hands.
it 40 double unders or was it like 30?
I think.
And it was power snatches, not hang power. I think it was 30 and 15.
I think it was. Yeah, it was a weird number.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, the
close, Ryan.
Yeah.
We do remember that one. Maybe a bit better than you. But thank you for being here.
Hey, okay, so I'll throw this one up real quick here. Sarah, I don't think I'll say this for my gym. I honestly, and I'm slow to the game, I will admit. But we just kind of really started pushing it this week, like talking about it, putting it up on the whiteboard, telling people about it. Not for any other reason other than the fact that I just got kind of caught up in what I was doing and other things, and we get the people kind of rolling and that sort of deal. But really making the shift to be like, hey, this is what the Open is. This is what we're going to do. It's going to be a big party. We're going to do a Friday Night Lights, like that type of thing. So I'm working to get everyone on board right now.
Nice.
Making sure all the coaches are all signed up as far, like I'm doing the judges course right now. Stupid judges course.
Oh, listen, it's way like I did the judges course and got my group signed up. I'm still an affiliate owner, right?
Yeah.
It's a different name, and it's in my garage, but I do have 4 people.
There you go.
We got a team. We got 2 girls, 2 guys, and we may be all over the age of 38.
And Dylan is going to be great on that team. And Blake
Dylan is going to do his best. And the judges course is way better than it was in years past, especially
I'm like halfway through. I'm halfway through.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
The thing I really like about what they did for the judges course is that they separated the questions for the big exam.
Okay.
Right, because you do those like 3 or 5 question things to just review what you went through, but the end big test where it was like, hey, you have 5 things to look at, whether they're no reps, or good or bad, and then at the end you're like, well, you went 6 or you got 3 out of the 5.
Yeah.
Do it over. I'm like, fuck, which one? Or I guess they do tell you, but
yeah.
Now it's just like if you miss that one, you just take that one again. They don't combine it.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
It was very
That's
nice. Yeah, very nice.
Because there was always one out of the 20 that would throw me off. Like it's a video review, and I'm like, I can't tell if he's touching the bar on the chest bar. I can't tell if the toes are touching. I can't see.
Dude, okay. Yep. Yes. Yeah, some of it's challenging, which is okay. Push our eyeball a little bit, but I will say this year's judges course way better than last year. I'm already signed up for the Open. I know you tend to do it late. Are you in?
I haven't signed it up yet. I know. Then remember last year I was on the day that it opened
on the show.
I know you're not going to do that this time. God dang it.
Who else is in the Open? If you guys are watching, let us know in the chat.
I haven't signed up officially yet, but I mean, obviously it's in the plan. I'm just trying to get all the back end stuff so that I can have the affiliate so that everyone can sign into it. So I gotta taking care of all that stuff. I'm in there though. I'm in.
Good.
Even though I gotta do 35-pound dumbbells.
Oh yeah. That's weird.
I'm really not happy.
Dude, I have been waiting for this moment since the day we met, that you age up to 55 and totally disrupt the whole system of how out of date the programming is. Bill Grundler using a 35-pound dumbbell to do dumbbell snatches is
that's my demo. As a coach, you never use the weight you're supposed to do when you demo, right?
Empty barbells, PVC pipes, and
35-pound dumbbells.
35-pound dumbbells, yeah.
That's what I got to use. So we'll see.
Yeah. Let's see. Who's in? Andrew, Stan? Yeah, you're in. Yeah, there we go. Every year since 2013. Wow. So is this year 10? For you or 11? 10, 11? David's in?
Yeah.
I'm in every year. Every year. I'm excited this year because I didn't get to fully participate last year.
Right.
I did the whole shoulder surgery thing, and then I did the adaptive upper body extremity version of the workouts. Right. For those of you guys that are like laid up or banged up, it's like there are alternatives. You can still be a part of the community while you do it for fun, right? I wasn't on their actual leaderboard. I was just taking ones and zeros on the real one, but I was doing the workouts that were programmed for the situation that I was in, which was one shoulder functional. I'm hit my 1 year mark yesterday.
That's crazy.
So it's supposed to be a 12-month full recovery. If you guys are just joining us, I fully tore my supraspinatus and infraspinatus rotator cuff tendons. You have 4. I tore off 2 of them. And like
dude, that's 50% right there.
50%, yeah. I think I half-assed it. If
that's right.
And a year, yeah. So a year, I go to the doctor tomorrow to get hopefully cleared. For the most part, everything feels good. Just a few, like some couple degrees of range of motion needed back, which I'll be honest, my overhead positioning for shoulder overhead or snatches or overhead squats has always been good. And I worked on that to get there, but I would say is that, not that I took it for granted, but for those that don't have the best overhead position, damn, those things are hard.
Right? And dude, I'm the same way. Like I have great range of motion, but the second I have a shoulder issue, you're like, oh, dang. Yeah. I can't just do that. Now I have to do that weird squat that everybody else does just to kind of keep it over my head.
I like the push my knees forward, pull the bar back.
Right.
So no, it's been good. It's been really good. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to do the Open. I'm curious what it is. I'm going to talk to Boz Friday. Just more about Open plans. Maybe try to get something out of them of what they're looking at the Open and how they approach the programming and how that moves into quarterfinals and how they're assessing the extra 15% into quarterfinals and how that can affect affiliate owners and what they're thinking about and what they're looking at. So I'm excited for that conversation. And the most exciting conversation will also be on Friday. And if you guys remember, is that we started the Glassman Chipper about a year ago. Right? About a year ago.
Yeah.
A little over a year ago. It's coming back. The Glassman Chipper CrossFit Journal Series is coming back on Friday at the same time. And this article for us is actually called, it's for Bill and my son, oddly enough, that we're talking about.
Me and Dylan hanging out. That's right.
And it is affectionately called Seniors and Kids. And that is what we'll be going through with these articles. Some of them are long, some are short. This is just a 2-pager. But as we work ourselves into the Open, we will talk about that. And we posted this quote, I would say, as we quote Greg Glassman, because these are all of his writings, and we just want to celebrate that, is this line that says, our kids and seniors squat, deadlift, push press, push jerk, clean and jerk, snatch, pull up, dip, push up, bench press, back hip extension, sit up, and rope climb. Less weight, fewer reps, more rest as needed, but the intensity is all that is needed to accommodate anyone's special needs or requests. And I was like, yeah, that's great. That's the whole point. So the CrossFit Journal will be coming back on Friday, which I'm very excited.
I cannot, I tell you what, man, I cannot wait to talk about that, because I think there are a lot of misconceptions about programming for different age groups.
Yeah.
And I myself have had, a master's program, and I think that I will be unleashing a secret that a lot of people don't really understand when we get into that talk. So
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's exciting.
And it's crazy because it's not as hidden or mind-blowing as you would think it would be.
Usually they're not.
Right.
Right? Which I think is the best part, because it makes it easier for people to do. They usually self-select before they even try it. And if you're just like, hey, guess what? This isn't a magic pill. This is just, it's as simple as it can be. It's just a matter of like execution and consistency.
Yep.
I believe most of the time. So
it'll be a good talk. It'll be a good talk.
Can't wait. Yeah. Yes, Chelsea. Teaser. Big teaser. Before we get to that, we just want to thank our partner of the show, Element 26. Element 26 is your one-stop shop for all things needed accessory-wise that will obviously improve your performance in the open. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. You can't lift it? Put, belt up. Oh, you can't hang on to the pull-up bar? Tape your hands and get some grips. Your thumbs hurt because you're hook gripping for the first time? Get some thumb tape. But if you guys haven't gone there, good news. If you're all over the world, it used to be U.S. shipping only, but you can use a special code between now and February. This is only good for about 6 more days, but on Amazon, Element 26 is there. You can use the code GWTP15E26 for Element 26. Again, GWTP15E26. That is for Amazon, so you can get 15% off everything they have on Amazon, shipped directly to you within a couple of days anywhere in the world. So I think that is great. But use that code, accessorize, and get prepped for the open. Last thing on the open, Bill, is I don't know if you know this, but I do hold a job with CrossFit HQ.
Wait. What?
Yeah.
No.
I work for the man. One of us. I'm a company man, and I am a rep. So I'm an affiliate rep. That is my main title. And there are 6 of us in the United States. There's one for West Coast, Central, Midwest, Northeast, and Southeast. And that is Katie Hogan, Andrew Charlesworth, Kevin Ogar, Danielle Williams, Gordon Lake. Is that 5? And then there's me.
Yep.
Well, Katie was talking shit on her South or her West Coast about getting like the most signups for the Open with her region. And I don't even know who's in your region, Bill.
Well, it's okay, man. We don't need that many. We don't need that many.
Yeah. I think it's like California, Oregon, and Alaska, maybe Hawaii.
I think Washington's in there too.
Somewhere. I don't know. You're not my region, right?
It's geography. I know.
Yeah, not my field. Not my field. There's a reason why I went into math and engineering. I don't do that. But I thought I would chirp back. And not just at West Coast, other reps as well, who's been speaking up a little bit. But I got to say, the international team, led by Daniel Chaffee, was trying to wave the flag for the international group, outpacing America in signups. And I just would like to share this content with you of my call to arms for the South Central region.
Okay, South Central. I'm outside. I'm upset because West Coast is talking trash
Who's talking shit?
about open participation. the West Coast.
I don't like that.
We're talking to the South Central, all right? Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. You're gonna talk trash to the South Central?
Who's talking shit?
Talk trash to 7 states that if they want to secede could take over the world? I don't think so.
I don't like that.
So we're gonna take it back. We're gonna take the open registration back and show them what the South Central does.
Remember the Alamo!
On top of that, I heard International was talking crap to America.
Who's talking shit?
America. Yeah, that's right. That they're going to get more signups than the US of A.
Dude,
I don't think so.
other countries suck. America's number one.
All right? So all you reps, all you groups out there in the US, get it together. South Central's going to win. All right? We're going to win, but you guys can get second, and then USA can stay number 1.
Other countries hate it too. They hate that we're number one.
Sign up for the Open.
I like that you go, okay, we're going to win, but you could take second.
You guys can get
That's
second.
cool. And then we'll let you do that. That's cool.
South Central first, 5 second place finishes with our other reps for the United States, and then it's on again for the international team. So if you guys want to try to take down the South Central in your respective region around the United States, good luck. I wish you all the best. The more, the merrier. But as far as America is concerned, this will not stand. I refuse to get on a Tuesday morning call with the international reps and have them talk shit to me on the phone that they outpaced us in the Open. All right?
I hope their reps put something together like this, just as a callback.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, right?
I'm just waiting.
So America first, America forever. Make sure you guys get my back for these damn morning calls I have to have with this group of people on a weekly basis, or else I'm just gonna have to sit there and take it. So yeah, sign up for the Open.
That was good, man. You did a great job on that too.
Thanks, man. That was a lot of fun. All right, Bill. Here's a topic. We've seen this happen in, I would say, 3 major competitions in the last year and a half, where weather has altered the programming of the competition after it had been announced. We saw the Alpaca in 2022, where they took out the rope climbs. And another part I don't think people remember is they actually removed like paint on the skids for those sleds that made it easier to push.
Right.
Because it wasn't moving.
Right.
Because everyone's feet were slipping. So not only did they take the ropes out, but they actually made the sleds easier to push. Rogue Invitational last October, most things changed. Not most, but a lot of things changed in key parts. And then obviously Wodapalooza has had their things over the years. And they've had to fall back on these contingency plan programming or on the fly, depending on how much ahead they've planned. And that sparked the conversation we wanted to have with people is how to make contingency plans, what to focus on, what is the big priority thing. And let's see. Oh, Travis, what did you say? It doesn't sound like a global message. Yeah, fuck the global message, Travis. I am American. I am choosing America first. I don't represent any other region in my job other than the South Central United States. So I am countrifying my call to action for the Open, yet I still want South Central staying up top. Right. If you want a worldwide acceptance podcast, I don't know where to send you. Pedro. He's at least got the Irish vote when it comes to that. But there's a couple topics I want to just span. Like we have nothing written down. We have nowhere to run. You guys bring input as you guys want to. But I was thinking of 3 main areas where a contingency plan is needed. One, we would say we can have also a delineation between competition and gym, right? Everyday class. One is weather. That can affect what happens on the day, whether in the gym or on the competition floor. The other, this is more gym related, is contingency plans for space or equipment limits based off what could be programmed. And the third part is set to number of people, say, in the class, which kind of parlays with number 2. Those are the big, what we really need to be prepared for areas that I put on there. Do you have any others to add to that?
Well, it was funny because when we were kind of talking about this off air originally, the general and the most obvious would be weather related when we talked about those big competitions. But you're right. I mean, like, contingencies happen daily in the affiliate as well. Whether you're all of a sudden you have your class, let's say you limit your class size to, I don't know, 15 or something, but you have a wedding that shows up that weekend and you got an extra 12 people that show up and you're like, ugh, okay, how am I going to get everyone in here to do it? And, whether you're doing that or it's not so much the open, because the open, you can't make a contingency away from what the actual event is. I mean, they try to give you the different plans to set it up. You're kind of stuck. But I think when you boil it all down, is you have to remember, and we talk about this all the time, but the why of the event. What is, what's the purpose for that event? So if you're talking big level competition, high end, you're talking Rogue, you're talking TYR Wodapalooza, you're talking the games.
Yeah.
You have to be, your contingency, I feel, needs to be able to answer the why that you started with. And so a contingency plan, to me, when you're looking at a big event like that, can't be something that's all right, we'll fix it if it happens. Or we'll just kind of haphazardly put something together to, we can't be on the rig, we can't be on the rope, so we'll just take it out and we'll do this. I think that there was so much time and effort put into the why and what you're trying to accomplish, meaning the fittest on earth, or what did Dylan say? Fun, fair, safety, fitness, and safety, whatever the why is.
You're right.
You have to, your contingency has to be based on that. And I think where people really run into problems is when they didn't think about that ahead of time enough. I mean, I'm talking well ahead of time, to where it doesn't seem like it's like whatever, we're just doing air squats. We're just going to do burpees over the line. We're just going to, whatever. I think that's where it gets really, really bad. So it has to be almost just thought about as much as the original setup, I think. That was my first thing. No matter what it is, whether it's the gym, whether it's Rogue Invitational, whether it's the games. I think that's what it comes down to, that why.
Having that in your back pocket, I would say, especially for competitions, there's little to no excuse to not have an A, B, and C on the backup. Whether it's
exactly.
And here's the thing: I know we talk weather a lot, but we said equipment and availability. What if half your rowers broke?
What if you were like Brazil that one year when you couldn't get any of the equipment to show up?
2018 Latin American regional,
yeah,
where there was a truck blockade or strike, and none of the equipment that Rogue sent could get to. Where was it? It was Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because you were down there. You and Joel.
Yeah, I was there for it.
Yeah.
And so all the local affiliates got together and just brought rig, equipment, anything they could. Now, some equipment got there, some equipment didn't, but most of it didn't. So the directors on site, and obviously Dave was a part of that, and Chuck, thank God, Chuck Carswell was there. They actually had a lot of good people there to mitigate the situation and manage it. But yeah, they had to do something as best they could to get the same stimulus out of it so that different people wouldn't necessarily qualify because of the lack of equipment that they had, because then it would be a different competition, and that's not a real fair playing field when it comes to sport, right? So things that I think about is also contingencies of preventative measures. It's all right, hey, it's Miami, and obviously this is all with the armchair quarterback position, is that we are not financially liable, insurance liable to execute these decisions. So again, armchair quarterback, easier said than done. But all right, hey, it always rains. Maybe we should figure out a way to put a canopy over the pull-up rig.
Right. Well, and that's what you look at. It's like, okay, what is going to happen outside?
That's just a random observation, right?
100%. Like, what if you're going to be outside, and I saw this on another podcast somewhere, they were talking about should events only be indoor?
Yeah. It
'Cause
was on Death by,
was that
and
the
it was
Death by one?
on, and I believe it was also on,
Was that on Pedro's too?
I think it was on Pedro's as well.
Okay,
And it's
around
a great
the
question to
world.
have. I'm definitely, I have been more pro inside on like major events where there's a lot of money on the line and a lot of things on the line. But I also get the argument, and O'Keefe made this argument, is like, listen, that's CrossFit. Like,
Right.
in a sense, is like, so I do get torn between there, but like maybe we can make the outdoor experience better.
Well, totally. Well, if I am totally not against being outside. I do think it's hard when you have a um like, and it happened the one time at the old regionals when you had certain regions were indoors, certain were outside, and then all of a sudden you had heat on one, you had torrential
Yeah.
rains on another one. So then it changes the quality, it changes the race that everyone is in, and that's when they used to do the worldwide leaderboard of everyone that was on competing, to how they would go up. So you would be able to kind of see that. Granted, if everyone is in the same race and you're qualifying 5 from that division and they're all competing and they are all dealing with the same issue, okay, I get it.
Mhm.
If you're looking at something like Wodapalooza, TYR Wodapalooza, when they're doing their event, they are the race. So whatever you schedule, it is what it is. But if you're going to be outside in that sort of situation, you can't think that it's not going to rain. Like, what are the things that are going to happen? Okay, well, if you have an earthquake, the whole event's getting shut down. So you really don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
If you have winds, okay, winds, you can do most of the stuff other than if you have, 25-foot ring straps, which they do in Wodapalooza sometimes, and the rings are blowing all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
what is the contingency for that? You got to know that it could happen. Not that it probably won't, but that it could. You have to think that way. And then same thing with the rain. If you think that rain might be a possibility, if you did want to look at putting a canopy over the rig, okay, well, that could do a couple things. Maybe it's going to keep the sun out of people's eyes when they're doing certain things, or it's not going to be as hot. So it'll be cooler when people are up on the bar. So it's kind of a 2-tier thing. So maybe it's going to be super hot and that'll work for that, or it'll be raining and it'll work for that. Or have to have another idea of, okay, if we aren't going to be able to do that event or that movement, then what other thing can we put in there? Not as a haphazard, like, well, fine, we'll like I said, go from bar muscle ups to screw it, we're just going to do lunges.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, like, whatever the thing is. You have to think about how important that movement is and then what you're trying to do. So you're right. You have to think of the you have to have the contingency, not that if it might happen, but plan on it happening. I mean, and even all the way down to what you talked about, the Latin American region, if you're going to be inside, even with that, okay, you better be choosing equipment in your workouts that if the stuff isn't going to come in, you didn't pick some special rig, handheld, something that there's no way you're going to get because you wanted to showcase this one thing and they didn't show up for whatever reason. And now what are you going to do?
Right.
Know where you're going to be able to get I mean, have some stuff on backup, have some other gyms that be like, hey, we need 12 rowers, 15 rowers. We have this many. If something happens, can we grab yours if need be, whatever. So but that's a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
But you got to think that way though. I like the idea of having, I think that would be sick to have an awning over the top of like the rig in Wodapalooza.
That would be pretty wild.
Miami.
Look, I'm trying to look at the reality of this and if it can be done.
Yeah.
And listen, here's the thing, is like when it's nice in Miami, it is just
awesome.
It's the beauty of that competition. Right. And we're not picking on Wodapalooza. We're just using it as an example of that. And I'm actually trying to pull up, like, if certain rental places actually have like stands with canopies.
And as you're looking at that, what's crazy is they even worked on their, oh, there you go.
Like that. Right. Like, it's doable.
Yeah.
I don't know the accessibility in there. Like, I don't know what it's going to be like with high winds but it's there and it's open in the back, right? If you guys are watching on YouTube, it's like, okay, there it is.
You know what's crazy is they
put that over Flagler.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, you you rented a barge from West Virginia.
Well, see, that's what I was gonna say. That was the way that they pivoted, which was
And an awesome pivot, by
amazing,
the way.
amazing. I mean,
Expensive pivot.
well, and,
But
that, and
this is
they,
the thing. Look at that. You get grandstands and tarp it over the
yeah,
top of the whole thing. It's still open on the sides. I mean, you think about tennis stadiums that are like that. For example, one of the best venues I've heard, haven't seen, but Torian Pro,
oh yeah, I hear
where they
so
have
many good
that,
things about that.
is
Yeah,
is basically a tennis stadium like bowl, but an open roof with just a big canopy over the top, so the rain doesn't come down on the court, but it's still open aired, so you
yeah.
get a little bit of both. I think the Rams stadium is like that. The new one, the SoFi Stadium, I think it's kind of like that. I mean, we're not going to spend billions of dollars to build a translucent roof, but it is something to think about because outside of just the athlete's experience, you make your money on people who come to attend your event. That's where you get registration. A couple
ticket
ways you
sales.
make money. You make money on sponsorship, qualifier fees, athlete fees, and spectator tickets. I know we focused a lot right now in the last 20 minutes is on the athlete experience and trying to preserve the stimulus of the event and not change it too much because of rain. But like there are thousands of people that show up that don't want to sit in the rain.
Right.
Right?
I will say that TYR Wodapalooza, even with all the rain, and the fans are pretty good about
Everybody gets it.
handling it with
Yeah,
the rain.
yeah.
They really are. But
Yeah.
even with
Athletes
that being
too.
said, like you want your people there.
Yeah.
You want them in the gate. You want them out there watching. And you're right. That is definitely something to think about for those ticket sales, to keep them out there. And then again, I mean, the other thing that's hard, and for the fans, I think, is when the events are announced ahead of time, and they're waiting to see this certain athlete do this certain movement because they love watching them do ring muscle up, so they just want to see them
Daniel
lift
Brandon
big
effect.
weight. Right? Yeah.
Who
If you
signed
would.
up to do the events that were originally programmed, which are great.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
unfortunately, they didn't get to do some of them.
Right. And so, I mean, if there is a highlight movement or one that is important to the event for whatever reason, whether it's
Yeah.
a particular stimulus, or you're looking at if you're trying to get that well-rounded fitnessness, and you're
Right.
going through your checklist and you're like, we really need to have this particular movement or this particular lift in there. So it's important. You want to be able to, hedge against that, protect that. What do you need to protect that? Do you need to have some coverage?
And look, even if you want to do something super basic, actually, Stefan is he says like, hey, Rogue can make that.
Rogue can make anything.
Probably. I mean,
Right.
Rogue right now is like, okay, think of what I would say movement modality or genre is greatest affected by weather. And that's gymnastic pulling movements.
Yep.
Maybe some barbell pulling movements or kettlebell, but not nearly to the level of degree and safety is concerned than a wet pull-up bar that you're pulling up on, wet rings or wet ropes that you cannot legitimately
Modify the stimulus. You
modify the stimulus. Thank you.
Yeah,
Just
you
lose
can.
my brain power there. You just can't, right? Okay, strict pull-ups. Okay, that was the best they could do to have something that wasn't just another pressing movement or get rid of it altogether. And that was the best option they had. And overall, I actually thought it went fairly well for the individuals. Teams was different, but Dylan said that the final event for the teams was just rough.
Right.
And yeah, like maybe Rogue goes out and makes is like, hey, we're going to make for Rogue, right? Not for anybody else. Like, we're going to make something that can come off Zeus and cover our competition field so that we don't have to change anything for the athletes if we want to go outdoors again. And if they go to Europe, which I feel like depending on where they go, I don't know, so someone could correct my ignorance. The weather there isn't that great either.
Right.
Depending on where you go, right? But I think I can't remember, was it Ireland or Scotland that they teased out, and that's where everybody thinks they're going to go? I was like pretty sure it rains all the time there.
nonstop. Yeah,
Paid
that's why everything's green.
But yeah, that's just like some forethought of like, hey, even at Wodapalooza, it was just a canopy over the pull-up rig so they could do pull-ups, toes to bar, and rope climbs. Completely saves them a lot of work in scramble mode to do those changes.
100%. Well, in what I will say to that will be the exact same thing. What's up, Zach? It'll be the exact same thing that I'll say about all of the contingencies. Is the contingency has to be thought of when you're. I mean, Dylan said that for TYR Wodapalooza, they were looking 6 months. They were programming 6 months ahead. The individuals were done 6 months ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that's the case, which is fine, then the contingency should also be done around that same time. Because that way, if you are looking at having to get some sort of equipment, like the way that they pivoted to find the barge quickly was amazing.
Amazing. And it was a total positive too for the spectators because it made Bayside, it allowed them to get bigger, which they needed.
That's totally. So if you have that ahead of time and you have all that time leveraged, then you can really think about like, okay, what things do we need to get to preserve if it's equipment, or if it's changing the movement, or at that point, if it's changing the order of the events based on the day, you could do that too. I mean, there's a lot.
Had to do 1 year.
Right. There's a lot of ways to do that, but you need the time. When it gets anytime, like the more and more of a time crunch you put on yourself, the more, and this will sound negative. It's not meant to be negative, but the more haphazardly it ends up being. Because you're just trying to err on safety.
Because you're reacting.
Rather than, it's reaction rather than proactive.
Yeah, right.
And it should always be ahead of schedule. Because that way, I mean, the best is when you have your plan set up, you have your plan A, and it's solid. But your plan B and plan C is just as solid and ready to go. So if rain pops up, bam, okay, you know what? We will be good. We're switching to this one. You already have the equipment. You already know what the event's going to be. You already know how that's going to affect the overall event itself, whether it's the games where you're looking for the fittest based on our definitions. You don't want to have your competition be lopsided one way or the other because now you have to remove certain events or certain movements. So that's where it gets really important. But again, you got to do that ahead of time. I mean, I think Dylan said
Dylan said they had things in place.
And he said like 2 months.
Yeah.
I think he said 2 months. But what's crazy is I really would be interested to know like how we know how much thought goes into the original setup. How much thought was really put into the contingency? Yeah. Was it like, we just need to just bring them off the rig and we'll just
I think he said it was like, hey, we had a different program and we had someone try it, but we didn't
really test
it because they were so focused on, which I get. I mean,
well, because I think at that point he's looking at this time schedule logistically, especially for him with all of the divisions. What they say 42? You're like, exaggerating it 20. It was like, or 15 and they had like 40 something.
48.
48. 48. But dude, I mean that is it is asking a lot, but the last thing you want is for people to talk bad on your event based on the fact that it was something that you had nothing to do with.
Nothing.
Other than planning on it might happen. I mean, and I've been to we've been to all events like Blair and Ben's NCC. They do their whole event is outside.
Which I think their qualifiers are open now.
Yeah, they're finishing up. Yeah, I think they're done the 28th of, so like either Sunday, Monday, something like that.
Okay, yeah.
So they're doing that. But the entire event's outside. So if you are going to be outside, like the last thing, and I've been part of it with them, where it's like all of a sudden the rain's coming down. You're like, shit, this is a snatching. Toes to bar event. Now what are we going to do? Like, well, probably should have thought of that ahead of time, No fault on those guys. That's what everybody does. Everyone has kind of, they get slapped in the face with it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the next year, they try to step ahead of the game.
Sat says, is there any way they could release the contingency workouts to the athletes ahead of time if they already had them written? I would say, yeah, because depending on the mix mash of things all happening, like they could keep and some not. So I do like the idea, but then you have another set of workouts that could change again. And then, so do you have a backup to the backup? It's like, oh, it's only rained here, so we can use the barbells, but not the pull-up bar. Like I think that could, as novel as idea, I think that is. I'm also okay with, it's like making a rule book. I think Pat Sherwood says like rule books never get smaller.
Right.
It's like the contingency of the contingency of the contingency plan is like.
Well, and then again,
but it's a good question.
100% it is. Well, look at Danielle Brandon's stuff. So she was bummed because bar muscle ups I think were taken out.
The bar muscle up, shoulder overhead, the ring, the parallel bar traverse,
the traverses,
and hang power cleans.
So sure, those would have been fun to do, but like, okay, you're Daniel Brandon. You've done all of those events, so you're not going to do a competition because they're going to take out the traverses and they're going to do bar dips, or you're not able to do the bar muscle up. Like really? Like it's that big of a deal for you to do bar muscle ups that it's like that's one of the things where I don't think that the event needs to tell ahead of time what if it rains, it'll be this workout. If it does this way, it'll be this workout. And I think that it's kind of like parental, where it's like, hey, we are set, we're ready to go. We'll tell you when we need to tell you.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm
okay with that.
I think that's kind of important. Let the event do their thing. Transparency is fine. Let them know that hey, if anything goes down, we'll have you set up, but we're not planning on anything happening. But if it does, we'll have you guys set and we'll let you know. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I like that. And a tough thing, again, this isn't all centering on Wodapalooza. I mean, the same thing happened to Rogue. They took out rope climbs in a sprint ladder or bracket style event that would have massively changed who won and lost. Like that completely changed who won and lost that event.
Oh yeah.
They had the pegboards that they replaced with handstand walks, and they pivoted too because they moved the final inside underneath the stadium stands, right?
Right.
So that is a luxury that they got to do. Not as easy to do at Wodapalooza. Why? Because like we said, there's 48 divisions going on across 4 days. There's 2,000 plus athletes and a jam-packed schedule. So it's the butterfly effect that I think some people don't put into account of, why don't you just push it back 2 hours or do this? Is like the swath of things you need to change in an event that is mainly, hey, like I said, fun, fair, safe fitness festival at Wodapalooza. At the same time, it's a $75,000 paycheck.
Right.
We want to get that right.
Right.
There should be an element of stimulus, appropriate balance, a balanced test overall. It's like, we're not trying to find the fittest. Like, dude, it's $75,000. It better be the fittest person there.
Well, totally. And I think that's where it comes down to the what's the why of the event. And hopefully the event coordinators and the programmers think about that ahead of time. If it's the games, the sole purpose is to find the fittest, which means you must have the most well-rounded, appropriate test for the athletes that are there, because that's what you are testing for. If it's Wodapalooza, Dylan had his setup of what he determined that the events had to be, whether it's same thing, Dubai. Okay, we want to showcase the landscape of Dubai and all of the cool things we can do here. Okay, right. Well then you have a lot of leeway, honestly, of how you can adjust and what you need to adjust. It's not about finding the fittest, right?
So hey, you can come here and compete if you want to. You don't have to.
Right.
We'll pay for some of your travel expenses. Madison, I actually think this is a good question. I think this is relating to your Daniel Brandon comment. Is like some athletes will join a comp based on the events, though. They don't want to do an out of season comp that goes against what they want to do. I get it. Like for even like the local side, it's like, hey, you want to do this like local partner comp? I was like, what are the workouts? I'll do that. I'm like, if they're dumb, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Well, okay, but is that because of
I
the
see that
movement or
side
because
of
of the
it.
programming? You know what I mean? I
Programming, not necessarily the movement, but I guess
Right.
those can go hand in hand. A sense is like, oh, it's a one rep max deadlift. I won't not do it. But if it's like one rep max deadlift, followed by the next event is DT, followed by Macho Man. I'm like, what is this?
Okay, so for that, so I can see how that level, that amount of programming will fall into your training cycle, and that makes total sense. But as far as a movement goes, I think if you are basing your entrance into or out of based on a particular movement either being in or not being in,
Yeah,
I think that's a little
right.
diva-ish and green
Okay, so
green
let's go through
M&Ms
what
only.
actually changed, right? So lift didn't change, swim event didn't change, final event didn't change, and there are 5 of them. What did change was Cortadito, which was the 3, 5, 4 time AMRAP deal. That was no, sorry, that's not Cortadito. That's Deja Vu. Cortadito was the 21-15-9 parallel bar dips with traverses and hang power cleans at 185 and 125, followed by 15-12-9 shouldered overhead and bar muscle ups. Right? And what that changed to was just dips, 30-20-10, and deadlifts,
Right.
which, okay, that changed a little bit. Deadlifts to hang power cleans, they added more reps for the deadlift instead of the hang power cleans. The weight stayed the same, and they added more dips. The second half was 30-20-10. Was it 30-20-10 again?
Yeah.
Of
Bar,
front squats. No, sorry,
right.
15-10-5 front squats and bar facing burpees. That's a
Right.
massive change. But like we said, they can't do another pulling movement on the rig because they have to change the pulling movement on the second or third event of the day, which they already had to do on Deja Vu because they changed chest to bar pull-ups, kipping for 35 reps
To strict.
for 3 sets to strict for 20 and 14. So they couldn't do strict. So I get that. And I guess to your point is like, that isn't, okay, you lost your bar muscle ups and your shoulder overhead, which you are good at. So of course you're upset, right? But it's not the end all be all that you didn't get to do that one couplet of the 5 events that you had there.
Totally.
And you had to change chest to bar pull-ups to strict pull-ups. Like, really isn't that much of a change.
And then a lot of the athletes go, I think, when you're talking Danielle, you're talking Danny Spiegel, and they were the athletes that I heard the loudest talking about how for an athlete like me, I'm not going to be able to perform, so I'm not going to be able to get the athletes that will complain are the athletes that are good at those events that are now being removed.
Yeah, I get
So
it.
all of a sudden you now have an athlete that like, okay, I'm only going to go to this because I'm say the gi of old. I'm only going because it's heavy lifting. Okay, well, you're going to kick ass because it's heavy lifting. But your back, last year and the year before that, your endurance was not that great, especially out of season, especially, out of the main part of the season.
Yeah.
These athletes, they go for a handful of different reasons. Yes, they're trying to get the money that's there. And that's important for a lot of the athletes, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
The second part is they are seeing where they are in their training, what they need to work on. They want to be able to have some fun and get some social media out there and be able to mix with the other athletes, mix with the fans, be able to have some content for them to be able to push them through the season as they're competing. That's really what that is. So did Danny Spiegel, because of those fun movements that she would have done great in, ruin her over the course of the event? I don't think that it did.
No.
And I don't think that, the individual event, honestly, we talked about, was way better programmed than the team event. So it really wasn't a bad programmed event, even with the changes that were made to it. And it fit the whys that Dylan had. So I think the contingencies that were planned and that were performed actually did what they were supposed to do. I think Rogue was an interesting one because I think that it was I honestly think that the rain contingencies made their event better than what it was originally planned,
Yeah, I think we said that when we
which is
reviewed it.
weird,
A couple
dude.
of things I would have preferred them to do, but like it did balance it out better.
Yeah, it made for some better races in some cases. It made for some fun twists in other cases. I mean, it really, I've never seen a rain contingency turn out better for event ever than Rogue this year.
Yeah.
Nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, all great questions and discussions. I think what it was this, I got to find this one. RB. Do you have, no, that's not it. I don't care about insurance.
Well, that's all part of your event anyway. You should be thinking about that.
It's all covered under one. It doesn't matter what the events are. It's just all under one. Do you think changing the programming matters more if there's a large cash prize from Chelsea Miller? Yes. Exactly what we're talking about.
100%.
Yes. If you're going to put a $75,000 price tag out there for the winner, everything should be as best as it can in terms of programming, balance, contingencies, all of that, right?
100%.
Your contingencies shouldn't change the outcome of who won or lost that weekend. That's when there's a problem. Or the fittest on earth when you're talking about the CrossFit Games, or the Rogue Invitational when you're talking about 250, 275,
Right.
like a games level cash prize. Like, yes, it is the most important part of the entire competition. It's not about fun. It's not about friends. It's like champion of the world CrossFit Games plus 300K, champion of Rogue plus 250K, champion of Wodapalooza 75. Throw Dubai in there. The programming should be on point and the contingencies matter. If it's just your freaking Dallas club 2-day partner comp at the local affiliate, no, it doesn't matter. You're just working out.
Totally. Right.
But yes, Chelsea, absolutely it matters. Otherwise, no. That's basically what we're talking about on the competition side.
Does any of that for you change when you're talking, when you had the old affiliate? Well, even with your mini affiliate now, do you think it would do? I mean, I know what my answer is. Do you change what your contingency would be, or what do you change your contingency based on now if you have to change something?
Like in the workout?
Yeah.
All
you
the
have
time.
your workout plan for the day.
Yep. Say we have running. I'm in my garage. I'm like, well, can't run today. We're going to row.
Okay.
Or bike. And usually I'll change between row, bike, and ski because I'm like, all right, the run was really a monostructural piece that I wanted in there. It wasn't specifically to run. But I pick run because I'm not doing any other like leg stuff, but I'm doing a high volume, say pull, whether it's with a bar, dumbbells, or pull-up bar. So I actually won't punt to rowing since I have, say, like a Concept 2 bike in the gym.
Right.
Because my run is just lower body only and lungs.
Yep.
The row is lower body, lungs, and upper body pulling fatigue, which I don't want to interfere with the workout. So it's also workout dependent, but all the time. And it happened in the gym all the time. Right? My favorite modification, and I wanted to ask you this, is my favorite ones on when we had too many people show up for the workout that was programmed. And without giving you what I would do, I want to hear what you do. So the scenario is, hey, it's 4:30 in the afternoon. We usually have 15 people per class. The workouts are programmed with that in mind. And now 25 people showed up today. And you have rowing and rig work or something. What do you do?
If it ends up being something like that, if I can... Well, what's great is if you can set up where it's an EMOM, or if it was already planned that way, those are the easiest ones. Because I'll just go, all right, we'll have half the group to start on these, and we'll have half the group start on that, and they'll alternate back and forth. And so it's easy to get that number in there. Like if we're doing Fight Gone Bad, or say we're doing Fight Gone Bad.
Okay, yeah, there's
okay.
There's a good one.
I have 8 rowers. Well, I'm not running 8 people through it. I have 6 stations. I have 5 workstations and 6 rest and a rest station in there too. I can run 48 people at one time with 8 rowers. And that's the way, I mean, sometimes you have to think on the fly.
Here's the question to that. Do you, since Fight Gone Bad is in a very specific order,
right?
Do you have everyone start on a different station or you filter them in 1 minute at a time?
If we have, let's just say, like the seams burst on the gym, and I have like whatever 30 people that show up.
Yeah.
If it's oversized, if I can make it where I can filter in, and I'm only going to be one cycle off, so it would end up only being 5 minutes off if I have everyone go the specific order. So group 1 starts on the rower, then they move to, or I'm sorry, they start on the wall balls, then they go to the box jump. So when they go to the box jump, the next group comes into the wall ball, and I kind of relay them in there. Once they're in that cycle. Everyone's got their appropriate setup. If I can do that, I'll do that.
Okay.
If for some reason I'm not able to do that because I got people all over the place, then I would just,
at the end of the day,
I want everyone to get a workout for whatever it is. So I know there's my priority list that I have set up is, can I get everyone to do the workout as it's written? If I can't do that, am I able to get at least the stimulus of whatever it is that I'm trying to look at? If we have pull-ups, and I know not everyone's doing pull-ups, it may be people doing bands, people doing jumping, people doing ring rows. Okay, we're modifying what's the stimulus? Am I able to get that in there? And then if I can't do that, am I able to get at least the time domain intensity? If I have to change some movements, okay, based on, let's say some people come in and we're dealing with injury type stuff.
Okay, yeah.
I have a member right now that, like, she's had tennis elbow, like from the rope climb type of stuff, where like all of a sudden you can't use anything with your arms at all.
Yeah, I've been
all right, we're doing a shit ton of leg stuff. All right, so what are we doing? Leg stuff, ab stuff, whatever we can do. But it's like modifying that all the time. And so she laughs. She comes up every day and she's like, okay, what is it today? And we modify it.
I love that mopey.
It's the contingent, and those are the contingencies. Whether it's for the class as a whole, the program, the workout as a whole, or individual. You're looking at scales and modifications based on how close can I stay to the original programming that I was trying to do, or the original stimulus of what it is.
Yeah. That's great. I'll do an extra step, because most of the people that show up for class are just happy that they showed up for class.
Right.
Aren't that invested on something that changes or whatever, right? And I'll tell people this is like, listen, I programmed a stimulus that I thought we could have achieved with the movements here on Sunday.
Yep.
It is now Tuesday. There is no world record for this workout. There is no leaderboard for this workout. Therefore, it doesn't matter if this workout changes from a kettlebell swing to a dumbbell snatch.
Right.
Or run to a row. That being said, if it's, say, like you said, for an example, fight gone bad day, if we have to just put someone at a different station and just like start everybody together, I'll be like, who is here to get a fight gone bad score?
Totally.
You 8. All right. You guys are going to start on this station, which is normal fight gone bad station. Therefore, you get what you came here for. If everybody else just wants to work out and be happy and sweaty at the end of the day, pick a station.
Yep.
And then we go. The other thing that I would do, and every once in a while you'd have that member who's like, it has to be the workout that was written. And then I go through my spiel of like,
right. Or they'll go home all sad and be on suicide watch. Yeah.
Yeah. One athlete I had, her name was Bethany, sweetest little girl, tiny freaking monster. Right. But if the workout changed, it would totally throw off everything. I'm like, why? And my favorite thing to do if we got too many people, which is always a great problem to have, didn't happen that often, but when it did, it was okay. And I would give it to the group. Majority rules. We can either work our way through this with lots of changes, or I can split you guys into teams of 3 and 4, and we can do a team workout. And every time, what do you think they voted for?
Did they vote to do the team?
Every time.
Really? My people don't.
No, not everybody is like, oh, I don't want to do a group thing. It's like every time, clear majority. It wasn't even like 50-50 team workout.
Huh.
I'm like, all right. And so what we would do is we would take what it was and say it was like, all right, we're doing ring dips, hang power cleans, and runs. Right? It's like, all right, we don't have enough rings, right? And enough men and women bars. Like, all right, team of three. And I would pick the teams. I was like, I'm not going to make it weird for you guys. Last person picked a dodgeball. I get some of you guys have weird fat kid childhood fears. I've been there. I'm going to pick your teams. And I knew these people like through and through. So I know who was good at what. And I would make the closest teams possible. They'd make a team name. And I'm like, all right, guys, 3, 2, 1. Right. And it was either like bulk work or you go, I go. And like, if it was an interval day, that was the best one, because like then what you would have normally done, say it was like, hey, 6 sets every 4 minutes, do 10, 15 and a 200 meter run, 10 ring dips, 15 hang power cleans and go run. Right. But then when you would have been like, all right, 10, maybe 6, 4, 15, maybe I'll go 6, 5, 4 on the hang power cleans and I'll just get out the door and get back. Now it's like, unbroken or die.
Right.
I'm like, so those were always really fun for me.
Yeah. Well, okay. And I think, bringing it back around, what you just went through is, what are all of those different ways that I can fit it into my why for this workout?
Yeah.
And because when you're talking, affiliate programming.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like, Travis, we're talking affiliate programming. Like, we're not going to go to the Wodapalooza Indies. Like, hey, guys, just want to do a team workout.
Right. Well, and what is the why? Why is, for the affiliate, is GPP, general physical preparedness, which means we want to have some accountability and some consistency in getting into the gym all the time and hitting these things. So we're hitting the different responses. We're hitting the different time domains. We're hitting all the 10 physical traits all the way through in having a level of variance to that, so that you can have that increase in your level of fitness. Yeah. So it allows a lot of freedom, even though you're not skewing that far from the workout, to just be like, okay, all I have to do is make it directionally fit towards the why for this workout. Yeah. Why for this workout in the overall program, whether you're doing it's some sort of macro cycle or mesocycle, or whether you don't do any sort of cycle, you just kind of are marching your way through. Yeah. That is important, to understand that element, so that you're able to make those contingencies. And that's where we talk about this, and we've even had other shows about it.
Do you see me like twisting in my chair? Cause I feel like we're hitting the peak of the conversation here.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
You got to know. That's why we talk about why you should be programming, because you need to be able to understand those things, or your coaches, your cadre of coaches needs to be able to understand what you are trying to do with that workout, how and why it's fitting. And because when you have that, now you can make your adjustments. If you don't understand that, then whatever changes you make are purely based on training. So I guess we have to go for safety. I don't know. We're just going to make them do air squats.
Right.
We're just going to do burpees over the line.
Yeah. Yeah. So you nailed it, because we talk about this when we talk about scales for particular movements, and that list grows as your experience grows. And you see that a scale for the pull-up isn't just a ring row.
Right.
Or a push-up, or pick a movement, think of a scale for it. That list only grows the longer you coach, the more you immerse yourself in the programming, the more you do your own programming yourself, and the more different swath of athletes you have come through with different degrees of fitness and maybe impairments. That list grows. Same thing with modifications, right? Contingency plans falls into the same vein as this. And Tariq just asked this question, like, do you just figure it out on the fly, or do you have this prepared? Figure it out on the fly. Why? Because I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've seen so many different things happen that I can sit back and on the fly contingency plan, because I've done it before. Right? I've been doing it for a long time. Bill and I just said is that it happens almost on a weekly basis, whether it's weather, equipment, space, or people. In the affiliate. On the competition side, it's like, hey, this will happen. If it rains, whatever the competition, if it's an outdoor competition, potential of rain, lightning, what do we do here? We need to be prepared for that. And the affiliate, it's all immersed in taking responsibility while being immersed in your programming. And if you don't do it yourself, you should still, if you get get sent the programming from whatever thing you pay for, look at this all weekend and plan what the scales could be, what the modifications could be. Make up your own contingency plan based off X, Y, and Z. And it's usually those 4 main groups.
Yeah.
Weather, equipment availability, number of people, or all the above. And your experience in that will grow. Just like a novice programmer turns into a seasoned programmer. It's not necessarily time. We actually had this discussion earlier today on the chat was, just because you've been doing it a long time does not mean you're good at it. Just because you've been doing it a long time does not mean you know what you're talking about. You have to be studying it for a long time and spending a specific amount of dedicated time to it. If you just started programming 2 years ago, but you spent every waking minute looking at other people's programming, listening to this podcast, listening to JR and Taylor, their unique view on these certain things. You spend the extra time to get good at this. It's not because you've been doing it for 10 years. I know plenty of people have been in this game for a long time, and it still sounds like they have never watched, heard, or programmed a CrossFit event in their entire life.
I know.
It drives me crazy. And some people think is like, oh, time served. I'm like, doing what? Right? And it only comes from putting in the work, making mistakes, learning from those mistakes, and they'll stay with you forever. There's a reason why Bill and I know like certain scales will work for pull-ups because we've done it the wrong way, or muscle-ups. Like there was a time when the scale for muscle-ups was 5 pull-ups and 5 ring dips per muscle-up. All right, guys. Today we've got 30 ring muscle-ups for time. No, there's no name for it, but maybe in the future we'll have one. They won't. Or you can do 150 pull-ups and 150 dips. And that is your scale for the ring muscle up.
And obviously you have plenty of strength to do those muscle ups if you're doing 150 pull-ups and 150 dips, but you're missing a technique somewhere. My good, can you imagine that? Oh my God.
Oh, Zach nailed it. This is a quote. Is like, if you want to master something, it takes about 10,000 hours to do so.
Yeah.
But it's just like that phrase is practice makes perfect, which is incorrect.
Right.
Perfect practice makes perfect. And he says 10,000 hours of shit movement don't make you, I can't even say that word. I'm assuming this is a gymnast.
That's the Chinese. No, he's a lifter.
Oh, Lu Zhao.
Luzon, yeah.
Whatever.
Zhao Zhen.
Yes, you're correct, Zach.
That guy.
Yeah.
One of
the game. Yes. A student of the game, not a bystander. Not a bystander.
And so, when you take the same idea when you're looking at competition programming, I think for the most part, a lot of the competitions have a main person, but they all also have a team that's with them. And you really, there you go, makes permanent. Exactly.
Practice
Whether
makes
that's
permanent.
good or bad.
That's a good one too. Zach, you're killing it today.
Having that team, and what's great we've done this just with ourselves is, hey, I have my competition, take a look at it, tell me what you think, because you need another set of eyes to look at it. And what's cool is when you get those other set of eyes, if they say, I like these, here are those things, I would go these things, or what are you looking at this, or what's the why on that? Sometimes some other ideas come out of that you can use as contingency plans for later. It's like, oh, if we don't do this, we could totally do it this way and have this thing in there. So if it rains or whatever, we could put this in this way, that way. So it's great to have another set of eyes that are, that you trust as another programmer to give the feedback. Yeah. And then help with the contingencies of that. I like that Dylan has a group that works with him when they're programming the workouts for the TYR Wodapalooza. I think that's important. Same thing with the games. I like the fact that, okay, if Boz is the main guy, and Dave was very interestingly politically correct when he was talking about Boz and the team and what his role in the programming would be. Yeah. To where he didn't. He's the oversight. Right? Yeah. Well, and he didn't really say that he was he was programming or not programming. He didn't lead into how much involvement there would be, other than he would be involved and he would definitely have his input, and he would. What does that mean? Does that mean a lot of input? Does that mean a little bit of input? Does that, so I like the fact that he said that, but again, there's a team that's working with that. And I'm really hoping for the open quarterfinals, semis, and the games that team is working all the way through, so that there's that thread, so that they are all involved and all are looking at that contingency plan as a group, with people being able to say, hey, you know what? I don't think that that's a good setup there. What if we looked at this one? What if we looked at that one?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's really, it's really important. It's same exact deal, but now you just have a team that's doing it because of the importance of not just your one class time, the noon class that's coming up. You have an entire 4-day competition with 3,000 athletes that are involved, and you have money that's on the plate that's going to be up for grabs, and you can't afford to do things on the fly. You just can't. Otherwise, that event's not happening the next year.
Yeah, not at that level. Not at level. But at the affiliate, have fun.
Yeah, totally.
Have fun. Try new things. Spitball with your members. Not too much, because then they'll start to give you too much feedback.
Got to be that parent.
Nope. That's
Got to be the parent.
Too far.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, guys, thanks for joining us on this discussion. Comments were great. Appreciate you guys chiming in. Great questions. Great interaction. If you guys missed the beginning of the show, our CrossFit Journal is coming back on Friday. The Glassman Chipper is back. We are starting with, or bringing back, seniors and kids. So we're talking about two opposite ends of the health spectrum in terms of CrossFit's definition of health and life and longevity, from the young kids class starting to the Silver Fox crew that I see some affiliates have. And so, I'm pumped for that. Yes, Seth, I will be in Austin this weekend. I'll be in Austin, Texas for the Fittest Experience. That is the event run by CrossFit Central, Jeremy Teal, and that whole crew. Yeah. Get to speak, I think on Saturday at 3:30.
Oh,
I'll be doing a little speaking engagement with.
I'm watching I'm watching it online. I'm signed up for the online version of it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing that. And I put a link. Oh no, that's the. Don't click that link. Delete that. Don't click that link I just put in there. Or that will put you in the show.
Oh shit.
It's all right. I won't accept you. Here's the link for the PDF. If you guys follow us on patreon.com, thank you guys so much for your support. Bill's workout of the week was last week. I will be posting my workout of the week today after we get off here. So you get a little chase programming this week. Again, that's just part of being a subscriber to our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/get with the programming. If you guys like to support us more than you already do, it's $6 a month. You guys get a workout of the week. We also will post the PDF, because when we do these reads, we highlight them, mark some of the important things. And if you guys are studying, say, for your level 3, I've heard actually this is great stuff for those that have been taking the tests. They really enjoy this content. So we'll post the marked up version of these PDFs. We'll post them on our Patreon page, which you guys will have access to by being a supporter. So we would appreciate that. It definitely goes a long way. It allows us to do all of these little things that we do for you guys. So thank you guys for jumping in. We will see you Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific or 12:30 p.m. Central. Bill, pumped to get back on the road with the CrossFit Games.
Same, dude. Same.
Fired up. All right, team. See you Friday.